Today is the day on the Christian calendar known as Epiphany, and that is when traditionally the church has celebrated the arrival of the Magi who come to Jerusalem looking for Jesus. I don't mean to burst your Christmas bubble or to mess up your manger scene at your house, but we often conflate or combine different stories in the Bible into one. And this is especially true with the birth of Jesus. Many of us have manger scenes that have the wise men or the Magi at Bethlehem with the shepherds and the animals. But sorry to tell you, that's not what the scriptures say. In Matthew chapter 2, and our verses for today are Matthew chapter 2, verses 1 through 12, it begins in the time of King Herod, after Jesus was born in Bethlehem of Judea. Magi from the east came to Jerusalem asking, "Where is the child who has been born King of the Jews? For we observed his star at its rising and have come to pay him homage." Now, we want to note, first of all, we tend to think of three kings. We even sing a hymn about that at our traditional service, We Three Kings. The word magi is actually a learned class in ancient Persia of wise men. Some people even will call them astrologers, or astronomers is probably a better term than astrologer. But the point is, we have these people who we consider wise. And what do? They come into the court of a ruthless, violent king and say, somewhat like the Three Stooges, "Hey, where's the baby who's been born to be king of the Jews?" And we know, sadly, from Matthew chapter 2, that their visit and their letting Herod know this had terrible, terrible consequences and leads to what's known as the massacre of the innocents, when after the wise men leave, Herod orders his troops to go and to kill all the children under a certain age, trying to destroy a potential rival to his throne. It's heartbreaking, and it's sad even today to continue to see the innocent and children dying in Palestine and Israel as violence continues in that part of the world. But the question I titled for today is, who is truly king? Because there are always political rulers, military rulers, people who use might and violence to lead, to control, to hold on to power. And yet God comes into the world in a very different way. God comes in vulnerable, totally vulnerable, dependent, as a baby and as a child. And there's a question that we all have to answer, the question of who is truly the king? Who deserves our worship, our loyalty, and allegiance? And Matthew would say the answer to that question is first and foremost, always Jesus. Happy Epiphany.